Hello, welcome to this presentation by Human Animal Support Services, harnessing people power to get lost pets back home. Human Animal Support Services, or HAS for short, is a project of Austin Pets Alive based in the US. We lead with and embrace a community centric sheltering model, providing animal welfare organizations with the tools they need to implement this model in order to keep more pets and people together. We focus on data driven, policy informed, and community centered resources and custom consultation to implement programs. My name is Jenifer Reed, and I am HASA's Program Implementation Trainer. My work focuses on providing direct training support to shelters who are implementing programs. And my colleague, Heather Kalman, who will also be presenting, is HASA's Research and Development Coordinator. She studies industry research and monitors data to inform best practices, resource development, and project implementation. As we get started, let's take a moment to clarify language that you'll find throughout the presentation. This presentation is focused on life-saving solutions for lost pets. And in the US, most lost pets have an owner or caretaker. In general, this presentation does have a heavy lost dog focus, but many of the recommendations can also be applied to cats who have been separated from their owners. RTH, or return to home, refers to pets that have been lost and then reunited with their owners in home. We'll review some data later that refers to this rate commonly tracked at shelters. This is also commonly referred to as RTO, or return to owner. And lastly, a finder is a community member who has found a lost pet and has taken them into their temporary possession. We'll be talking a lot about how finders are key to advocating for lost pets. Focusing on lost pet reunification is the biggest opportunity for immediate reduction of shelter intake. For 2023, Shelter Animals Count reported that 48% of intakes in the US were strays, and that only 9% of these lost pets were returned to their owners. These rates were a little higher for dogs than cats, but overall, this number is still very low. And there's a real need to increase this return to home rate to preserve human animal bonds and family units while also preventing unnecessary kennel housing that is harmful to pets' welfare. In the past, we trained our communities to bring to the shelter every animal they found, even if that pet could have been nearby its home. A Finder to Foster program aims to entrust and empower finders to temporarily house lost pets in their home while they also make attempts to reunite and find the pet's owner, avoiding a stay in the shelter for the pet. And it's common for people to bring in healthy, friendly animals to the shelter that are not in immediate danger, sick, injured, or causing a public safety concern. And these healthy, friendly pets are the exact population this program aims to help. The shelter is still available as a safety net for pets who truly need it. And there are variations in how this programming can work, depending on your shelter's operations. For example, when the finder calls or comes to the shelter, you can either ask them to hold the pet without processing an intake record, or you can enroll the pet as an intake but foster the pet back to the finder until it is reclaimed or the stray hold expires. And shelters who are practicing finder to foster programs have one regret, that they didn't start them sooner. People love having an opportunity to help, and they're often willing. All you have to do is ask. Now that you know what a finder to foster program is, let's talk about what the program aims to do. We want to empower the community to get lost pets back home. We can do that through communicating effective reunification strategies, like looking around the area a pet was found before coming to the shelter. We can also actively support finders who are willing to hold stray pets in their homes by providing pet care supplies and guidance, regular follow up communication, and doing our part at the shelter to follow any reunification leads we may have. And overall, these programs create more advocates for lost pets. With finders caring for the pets and about their outcome, we create more opportunities for that pet, should they not be reunited with their owner. For example, a finder may be willing to assist in finding the pet a new home by continuing to house the pet and talk to potential adopters. And even if the pet does come to the shelter eventually, the finder can still help by sharing about the pet within their own personal networks. This gives stray pets so many more opportunities for a positive outcome. And Finder to Foster programs are customizable for your organization and community's needs. You might consider, do you already have a program at your shelter that this could be built from? We did find that host shelters with existing programs found success in enhancing their programs by applying the principles in this presentation today. And in doing so, they found even higher return to home rates than shelters who launched brand new programs. These are 5 elements of a successful Finder to Foster program. Consider building it into an existing operations or program. Do you already have a robust foster team who is used to managing pets housed in volunteers' homes? Or do you perhaps have a community support team who is skilled at having conversations with the public? Both of these would serve as great infrastructures to manage and build a Finder to Foster program. And while these setups may make it easier to launch a Finder to Foster program, don't hesitate to try it. You can start small with whatever bandwidth you have and build from there. For example, you could commit to starting with trying to manage 10 Finder to Foster placements at any given time. After you work out the kinks operationally and get into a rhythm, you can always add on. That might sound small, but for those 10 pets, you've made a world of difference and allowed them to flourish in a home instead of the shelter. Quickly post lost and found pet reports. So, whether finders show up in person or contact you remotely, it's important to ensure you have a way to display all found pets online, which typically originates with having the finder fill out a digital report, regardless of if they're being housed within the shelter walls or with a finder. It's really an utmost priority that all found pets are visible to owners who are searching for them. Consistently follow up with finders. This is a big one. Offering support to finders is a real selling point to encouraging participation in a finder to foster program. Plus, we do want the placements to be successful and for everyone to have a good experience. And there are many side benefits of programs like these as well. If folks have a good experience, they're perhaps more likely to be involved with the shelter on an ongoing basis. Maybe they're interested in being a volunteer or a permanent foster caregiver. It also helps you maintain data about how the program is going when you know the outcome of the placement. We'll cover the next two in more detail. Those are maintaining external marketing plans and tracking data. More on that momentarily.
Clear and frequent communication makes all the difference for reunification programs. In a pilot project for lost pets, Haas found that the only shelter who did not create an external communications plan had the lowest success rate and the lowest participation rate in the program, meaning fewer finders agreed to temporarily foster pets. Messaging should center on what data tells us will help lost pets. For example, look in the area the pet was found and look to connect on social media. There are a variety of communication channels that can be used for reunification messaging. A clear and dedicated lost pet webpage should be used to list FAQs and, most importantly, live lost and found reports. If someone finds an animal they're willing to foster or temporarily hold, they can file a found report, and the shelter can be the liaison between the finder and the owner, helping them locate one another to get the pet home. In a pilot project sample, we found that posting lost and found reports more quickly on the website was positively correlated with greater program success. In other words, getting lost and found pet information out to the public quickly was beneficial for return to home rates. This can all be done without pets having to come to the shelter. Other communication channels may include TV, news releases, radio segments, social media campaigns, billboards, and bus shelter signs. Making the ask for finders to temporarily hold pets by explaining what Finder to Foster is and how people can help is critical for program success and participation. Haas shelters found success with dedicated trainings on how to hold conversations at intake, along with scripts for explaining the program. Standardizing the data collection and follow-up process for lost and found reports is key to listing lost and found pet details online to support visibility, showing the support provided to finders, and demonstrating the number of pets kept out of the shelter through reunification efforts. Additionally, tracking the data on lost pet outcomes matters for understanding what works with new programs and can help inform program development at other shelters and communities with lessons learned. Tracking comprehensive person and animal records allows for individual case tracking and, as mentioned previously, demonstrates the number of people and animals supported by reunification programming, such as the number of animals kept out of the shelter. Entering complete and accurate addresses where pets are lost and found is critical for reuniting pets and informing program efforts. Inaccurate or incomplete location data, like near the grocery store or on Forest Road, may lead to missed opportunities for reunification. If a full address is unavailable, detailed cross street data that includes the city and zip code may be used. However, this data is less likely to be able to be mapped accurately by software. Accurate location tracking can help you understand pet ownership in your community, like stray intake and lost and found pet trends, and highlight support opportunities for shelter planning, such as where to host low cost microchip clinics. Timestamp data will often auto populate in shelter management software and is valuable for tracking stray holds and the time it takes for outcomes like reunification to occur. In addition to entering complete addresses, one of the most important data points to track in lost and found data is the outcome of the report, or what happened in a lost pet's journey. Example outcomes may be that the pet was reunited by the finder, brought to the shelter, adopted by the finder post hold, or that the outcome was unknown. Documenting lost and found outcomes provides greater data on program impact and future development needs. In 2022, 6 Haas pilot shelters piloted a reunification program for lost pets. The pilot ran for a period of time ranging from 1 to 2.5 months. Shelters varied in size, operations, and geographic location across the U.S. In the 48-hour program, finders were asked to hold healthy, friendly, found pets for at least 48 hours and make shelter-supported efforts to help get the pet home. We were thrilled to see that some shelters doubled or even tripled their return to home rates compared to prior months' return to home rates. An unexpected outcome was that pets who were not able to be reunited were able to be rehomed without the need for coming to the shelter. While the primary goal is always to reunite with a pet's owner, when that's not able to happen, rehoming outside of the shelter is often the best pathway forward. Similarly, research by Gunter and others in 2022 found that new foster caregivers with no prior relationship to the shelter were over 4 times more likely to adopt than those with a prior relationship to the shelter. In summary, there's a significant opportunity to impact shelter intake and reunification with finder to foster programs. Community behavior data tells us to communicate effective lost pet reunification strategies, like looking in the surrounding area that a pet was found and looking on social media. Data tracking is key to evaluating program impact and organizing support. There is especially value in collecting data when launching new programs. If you're not yet sure about launching a Finder to Foster program at your organization, we encourage you to try a pilot project or testing phase first. To launch a Finder to Foster program at your organization, visit the Lost Pet Reunification section of the Haas Resource Center at humananimalsupportservices.org. There you will find complete implementation guides where we'll include all the details of how to launch this type of programming. We also welcome you to explore the broader Haas website where you can find webinar recordings, blogs, and more on Haas data, research, and other program implementation toolkits on topics like supported self-rehoming and pet support services. All Haas resources are available to access for free. References from today's presentation can be found here. For any questions, please feel free to contact us at haas-project@americanpetsalive.org. Thank you for your time in attending today's presentation.